Good morning, everyone. Welcome back. So I got to be honest, I am 1,000% not wanting to be here today. I am just wrecked. I've been going really hard for like 3 weeks now. I haven't really had any time off. So I'm tired, but we got to get some stuff done. So before I get started, I want to show you a little bit. Well, I'll show you the mess that I'm in. So yeah, it's been rough. I haven't just been working here. I've been working at regular work and down south. So we've got an apartment that's turning over. But I just want to share with you before we get started today. So we did end up getting this, or the weeknight crew ended up getting this done here. They did a great job as usual, although, oh my gosh, they are just so, so messy. I decided to decorate a little bit with a piece of sheetrock just right in the middle there. The tenants are going to love it. No. So today we're actually going to be working on buttoning up the space that I have all the water lines running into. So that piece of sheetrock, or at least part of it, is going to go right here. I ended up getting the manifolds done. They don't look like much right now, but they'll work. They'll be great. So we're going to be mounting those on the inside over here. Mounting those on the inside over here. I am going to need to run a couple of water lines, or 3 water lines actually, because I never ran the one for the toilet or for the vanity, because I didn't know exactly what I was going to do there. Now I do, so we're going to get that done as well. And as soon as we're done this, we can move the vanity back in here, and it starts a whole cascade of hopefully success, where we can start putting stuff back where it goes. We can get the floor in here done. We can start doing all of the thresholds and all of the molding, and it'll be great. So thanks for joining me today. We got a lot to do today, and we're just going to jump right into it because I want to get it done and go home. So thanks for joining me. Let's get started. All right, so I've got the water lines hooked up. The water isn't on yet, but here's what it looks like. So definitely not as neat as I had envisioned. What I learned, once I was in the space and had the pre-built stuff that I brought, I learned I just didn't have enough space. So I ended up pulling the valves that I had on each one of the lines on the manifold. I ended up pulling those off, and I just ran the water lines directly up to the manifolds. And I did keep, or I added the shutoff valves here and here. So honestly, it's not what I had envisioned, but the space was just too tight to do that. And I think this is going to work. Unfortunately, it is very tight. So if I ever have to change any of these lines, it's going to be a bit of a job. But I do think I've got enough slack in here that I can actually just pull this part off here. There's little screws in there. You can just push that back and this will come off. I think what I can do is I can pull this forward and work in to get in the back one, and the front one is there and easy enough to work with. So I still think I have options. Again, not exactly what I had planned, but I do have shutoffs in the apartment, which is what I was looking for. So mission accomplished, I guess. So up next, we're going to be insulating the cold spaces inside this cavity here as best we can. We don't want anything to freeze in there. And then we are going to be working to button up the wall out here. So once we do that, once we get the sheetrock on here, and I might put the wall board back on, I don't know, then we can move the kitchen sink back in. We can get all of the water lines connected. We can paint in here. We can put the trim back on. We can put the baseboard covers back on. So we'll be done with a room that when we first bought the place, we thought we had no work to do in. Several weeks of work later, whatever. You know, we had the stack issues, and we used that as an opportunity to rerun some lines and run some new lines and all the things. So in the end, I think it's going to be worth it. But it's nice to see that we're getting there. All right. So after I don't know how many months now, that's patched back up, and it's still not done yet. I did decide to put the beadboard back up, and honestly, I was gonna put something else there, but I don't know what else I would put because I've got all of this all around the kitchen right now. It's all, you know, I mean, it's not my favorite, but it's functional, and yeah, I didn't have anything else to put there, so I ended up putting it back up. It was in relatively good condition. I ended up cutting around the water and the sewer lines there so that I can start moving the sink back in. For now, though, I am once again in a mess. So I'm going to take a little time and just kind of pick up in here because I do need to have a clear way to get that sink back in here. So that is what I'm going to do next. All right, so the next thing we're going to do is we're going to cut an opening here so that we can feed in the water and sewer lines when we put this back. So we want this to be about 6 inches up, about 10.5 inches high, and then 4 inches deep. So that's right. What I'm going to do is I'm going to leave a little bit of metal here so that that stays as structurally sound as we can make it. And we're just going to do our best to wiggle it in. I'm going to have to deburr this edge, and I think it'll be okay though. All right, so that is an adequate looking hole. So the water line and the sewer line are going to go right through there. I deburred it as best I could, so we shouldn't have any issue with it impacting the lines or cutting the lines or anything. I also scraped this down so that I can get some of that rust converter on there. And I tape this up a little bit so it doesn't bleed over into the side. So I'm going to spray it just before I leave today, because if I do it now, it's going to be like it gets in the air and it smells so bad. So I'm just going to wait on that, but it's all prepped and ready to go. Okay, so with that, I think I'm going to call it. I'm going to get that sprayed and I'm getting out of here. I will see you tomorrow. So kind of an exciting day planned, partially at least. So my wife's going to come over and she is going to watch the upstairs plumbing that we did last time. She's going to watch that for me while I turn the water on downstairs. We can't do a full test because I don't have any of the fixtures hooked up yet or any valves or anything like that. But she's going to be up here watching at least that the water gets up and doesn't leak from the basement all the way up to this floor. So that's great. Once that's done, I am going to be painting this room. And if I'm lucky, I'm going to be painting this room as well. Originally, I was going to leave it, but it is in pretty rough shape. One of the benefits of going over what's in here right now with my own paint is I know what the colors are, and if it gets scuffed or dirty or whatever in the future, I can just touch up versus having to do the entire room again like I'm going to have to do right now. So my goal today is to get walls cut in along the entirety of the room, as well as do the first cut on some of the trim in here. Because, if you're going to do the walls and you're going to cut in, you might as well do the trim as well so everything looks nice and fresh. So that's the goal for today. Let's get going. So we were just on the phone confirming that there were no leaks. How's it looking, Nikki?
Looks good. Good job. Dry as a bone.
I like that. Just gonna double check just to make sure. No, everything looks good. What do you think of the place so far?
The apartment looks awesome.
Does?
Yeah. Like I was just standing here and this view from like here, once you paint it white today,
yeah,
and those floors are done, the view from here through here is gonna be beautiful. You've done a good job. You've restored it to its former glory. Because you can tell this was a nice place. Well, I mean, it's not done yet, but
yeah,
it looks a lot better. And the light,
yeah,
there's a lot of natural light.
It does look.
Even with like the leaves on the trees, there's a lot of leaves.
Yep.
It's gonna be really beautiful. You did a good job.
Thank you
doing
for your
great.
help. Thank you.
You're almost there. I feel like you're almost there.
I feel like I'm.
You're almost there.
I don't know. I feel like we're 80% there, and we get that last 20%.
This is white.
Yeah.
And the flooring is done. Then it's just like putting stuff back and cleaning up. It looks awesome. Nice work.
You just have one more apartment to do.
The winter project.
Details. Right? All right. Thank you for your help today, Nikki. All right.
Bye.
Bye. Okay, so the water's fully on, no leaks, so that's great. We're going to get started prepping for paint in here. I think I'm going to start with the trim work. That's what I normally start with. But I am going to take all the cover plates off the outlets and do all that stuff first. So that's going to be my first focus, just going around, taking all that stuff off. And then I might need to do a little bit of cleanup along here, but we'll see. All right, so we are done our first full coat in here. So baseboards are done, trim is done, walls are done, areas near the ceiling, all of it's done. What I probably should have done, done at the same time was get started on the areas in this room, but I didn't, and that's okay. I'm going to go through and I'm going to do that now. And by the time, hopefully, I finish that room, hopefully this room will be dry and ready for another rolled coat. I am hoping against hope that I don't need to go and do all around the trim again because I did do a pretty good coat on that, but we'll see. And I also didn't prime first. Normally I prime first. I decided to give it a shot because upstairs where we didn't prime, it looks just like where we did. And it's not a super high sheen or high gloss paint in here. So we'll see what happens. I'm hopeful that once I get that second coat on, all of the patchiness will go away because it was pretty dark red, but we'll see what happens. So Ugh. I hate painting, but we got to do it. It's got to get done. All right, so I am back and I am ready to roll the walls. So we got to put another coat on here. I went and I took a quick break, got some lunch, and everything is dry enough for me to put that second coat on. Unfortunately, I am going to have to cut in again. I did my best to only have to do one pass, but where that red was, yeah, it's going to need a second coat, and that's okay. Really don't like cutting in, but that's got to get done, so I'll do it. All right, so that's going to be it for me. I'm calling it a day. So I didn't record it, but I went and I did all of the area just underneath the trim, all around this room, and in this room as well. So I think overall, it looks really good. I had the same issue this time that I did last time with the Behr paint. I've got probably 4 gallons left. I think it's going to be enough for this apartment for the few things that I still need to do. But Benjamin Moore all the way. I'm not I'm not messing around. I think I said this in one of the last videos. I have never had paint drips before in my life, ever. Paint for a long time. I'm going to pay more. I'm going to get the Behr. So that's me right now. Hopefully, future me remembers as well. Anyway, thanks so much for joining me. As always, if you enjoy this content, please like and subscribe, and we will see you next time.